Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Just want to say Happy New Year's to each and every one of you. I hope you guys had a safe and fantastic holiday season. Again, I hope you guys are well rested because now we're going to go ahead and go into our next 9 weeks of the lesson. And today we will start talking about Southwest Asia and North Africa, which is also known as the Middle East. Our learning objective for today I will learn about the physical features of North Africa and Southwest Asia so I can develop an understanding of the rivers, lakes, mountains, and countries that make up the Middle East. I know I have it when I can openly discuss what I've learned to family, friends, and classmates. All right, so what comes to mind when we think of the Middle East? Um, of course, the different types of people, the different places in the Middle East, the different things, environment, things that you can do, the different type of events, and the different cultures that's also in the Middle East. So, a little bit more about the Middle East is the Middle East is a geographical region that has been of great importance in history since ancient times. Strategically located, it is a natural land bridge connecting the continents of Asia, Africa, and Europe. It was the site of some of the world's earliest civilizations and the birthplace of three great religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. In recent times, its enormous deposits of oil have made the Middle East more important than ever.
The Middle East has an intoxicating history. It's a cradle of civilizations and a beautiful, complicated land that's home to some of the world's most hospitable people. Jerusalem, Beirut, and Cairo. The Middle East cities read like a roll call of historical heavyweights. In this land of historical, architectural, and all manner of other treasures, it may just be the people who'll live longest in your memory, along with the privilege of exploring such a fascinating land. This is one of the Middle East's most treasured attractions, and when the sun sets over the honeycombed landscape of tombs, it's a hard-hearted visitor who is left unaffected by its magic. Towering over both the urban sprawl of Cairo and the desert plains beyond, the pyramids of Giza and the Sphinx are at the top of every traveller's itinerary. The Middle East may be strewn with landmarks left by the ancients, but few carry the raw, emotional power of Persepolis. Sacred to Muslims, Jews, and Christians alike, the Dome of the Rock is an epicenter of religious convergence and conflict. It is also home to a gold-plated mosque of singular beauty, built to represent humankind's yearning for God. The Nile is Egypt's lifeline, an artery that feeds the entire country from south to north. Only by boat can you appreciate its importance, and also enjoy seeing archaeological sites from the water. High season runs June through August. In the spring and autumn, weather is often agreeable, and crowds are generally smaller at main sites. From ruined cities to the aspirational architecture of the great faiths and modern settlements whose origins date back to the dawn of time, the Middle East is an astonishing and complex region where the past is always present, history is the heart and soul.
What do we know about the Middle East? This region is sometimes called the crossroads of the world because of its critical location between several continents. And again, what are those three continents? Asia, Africa, and Europe. So the Middle East, the lands around the southern and eastern shores of the Mediterranean Sea, encompassing at least the Arabian Peninsula, and by some definitions, Iran, North Africa, and sometimes beyond. So the central part of this general area was formerly called the Near East, a name given to it by some of the first modern Western geographers and historians, who tended to divide what they call the Orient into three regions. Near East applied to the region nearest Europe, extending from the Mediterranean Sea to the Persian Gulf. Middle East from the Persian Gulf to Southeast Asia and Far East, those regions facing the Pacific Ocean. And here's a list of some of the countries in the Middle East. I'm sorry, a list of the countries in the Middle East: Afghanistan, Algeria, Bahrain, Cyprus, Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Kuwait, Lebanon, Libya, Morocco, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Tunisia, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. So with that list of countries that I just gave you, are you able to locate them when you are looking at a map? So the only difference is when we get here where we see Morocco and Western Sahara, this no longer exists. This whole country is now considered Morocco. Okay. Now let's take a look at the peninsulas. So the Arabian Peninsula is bordered by the Red Sea, Persian Gulf, Arabian Sea, Gulf of Aden. Then we have the Sinai Peninsula, which is bordered by the Red Sea. We have the Anatolian Peninsula, which is bordered by the Black Sea, the Aegean Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea. The three major peninsulas in the Middle East are the Arabian, Anatolian, and the Sinai. There are many different minor peninsulas, such as Qatari Peninsula. So let's talk about these three peninsulas. The Arabian Peninsula, or Arabia, is a piece of land in southwestern Asia. It is the original homeland of the Arab people. It is also the birthplace of the religion of Islam. The country of Saudi Arabia takes up about 4/5 of the peninsula. The peninsula also includes Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, the United Emirates, Yemen, Bahrain, and parts of the Jordan and Iraq. Then we have the Sinai Peninsula. It is a triangular peninsula linking Africa with Asia and occupying an area of 23,500 square miles. The Sinai Peninsula lies between the Gulf of Suez and the Suez Canal on the west, and the Gulf of Aqaba and Negev on the east. And it is bounded by the Mediterranean Sea on the north and the Red Sea on the south. Then we had Anatolia, which is also called the Asian Minor, the peninsula of land that today constitutes the Asian portion of Turkey. Because of its location at the point where the continents of Asia and Europe meet, Anatolia was from the beginnings of civilization a crossroads for numerous peoples migrating or conquering from their continent. All right, so on this slide, we will discuss some of the mountains that are in the Middle East. There's the Taurus, the Mount Ararat, the Elburz, Zagros, Hindu Kush, Atlas, and Hagar. We're only going to discuss Mount Ararat, Zagros, and the Atlas. So Mount Ararat is a volcanic massif in extreme eastern Turkey, overlooking the point at which the frontiers of Turkey, Iran, and Armenia converge. Its northern and eastern slopes rise from the broad alluvial plain of the Ararat River, about 3,300 feet above sea level. Its southwestern slopes rise from a plain about 5,000 feet above sea level. On the west, to a low pass separates it from a long range of other volcanic ridges extending westward toward the eastern Taurus ranges. The Ararat Massif is about 25 miles in diameter. All right, so next we have the Zagros Mountains, which is a mountain range in southwestern Iran, extending northwest, southeast from the border areas of eastern Turkey and northern Iraq to the Strait of Hormuz. The Zagros range is about 990 miles long and more than 150 miles wide. It's situated mostly in what is now Iran. It forms the extreme western boundary of the Iranian plateau, though it is though its foothills to the north and west extend into adjacent countries. And lastly, we have the Atlas Mountains, which is a series of mountain ranges in northwestern Africa, running generally southwest to northeast to form the geologic backbone of the countries of the Maghreb, which is the western region of the Arab world, Morocco, Algeria, and Tunisia. They extend for more than 1,200 miles from the Moroccan port of Agadir in the southwest to the Tunisian capital of Tunis in the northeast. Their thick rim rises to form a high seal separating the Mediterranean basin to the north and the Sahara to the south, thus constituting a barrier that hinders without completely preventing communication between the two regions. So what is the Dead Sea? It's a landlocked saltwater lake. It is the saltiest body of water and 9 times as salty as the ocean. So the Dead Sea, which can be also called the Sea of Death or the Salt Sea, again, is landlocked salt lake between Israel and Jordan in southwestern Asia. Its eastern shore belongs to Jordan, and the southern half of its western shore belongs to Israel. The northern half of the western shore lies within the Palestinian West Bank. It has been under Israeli occupation since the 1967 Arab-Israeli War. The Jordan River, from which the Dead Sea received nearly all its water, flows from the north into the lake. Rivers. Now, we've discussed the world's longest river, which we know is now the Nile River. Then we have the Tigris, the Euphrates, and the Jordan. So the Nile River, the longest river in the world, called the father of African rivers. It rises south of the equator and flows northward through the northeastern Africa to drain into the Mediterranean Sea. It has a length of about 4,132 miles and drains an area estimated at 1,293,000 square miles. Its basin includes parts of Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Kenya, Uganda, South Sudan, Ethiopia, Sudan, and the cultivated part of Egypt. Its most distant source is the Kagera River in Burundi. Then we have the Tigris. The Tigris is the eastern of the two great rivers that define Mesopotamia, the other being the Euphrates. The river flows south from the mountains of the Armenian highlands through the Syrian and Arabian deserts and empties into the Persian Gulf. And then we have the Euphrates River, which is the longest river in Southwest Asia. It is about 1,740 miles long, and it is one of the two main constituents of the Tigris-Euphrates River system. The river rises in Turkey and flows southeast across Syria and through Iraq. And then we have the Jordan River, which is also called Jordan in Hebrew, which is a river of southwestern Asia in the Middle East region. It lies in a structural depression and has the lowest elevation of any river in the world. And right here we see, these are some pictures of the Nile River. And again, we know that the Nile is the longest river in the world. But when we're looking at the Nile River on the map, we know that it splits into Blue Nile, also White Nile, and the Atbara, and the Victoria and Albert. Now let's talk about the deserts. So there are quite a few deserts in the Middle East, such as the Sahara, Sinai, Libyan, Arabian, and the Rubul Khali. The desert that we will discuss today is the Sahara. The Sahara which is the largest desert in the world, filling nearly all of northern Africa. It measures approximately 3,000 miles from east to west and about 800 to 1,200 miles from north to south, and has a total area of about 3,320,000 square miles. The actual area varies as the desert expands and contracts over time. The Sahara is bordered in the west of the Atlantic Ocean and the north by the Atlas Mountains and Mediterranean Sea, in the east by the Red Sea, and in the south by the Sahel. It is a semi-arid region that forms a transitional zone between the Sahara to the north and the belt of the humid savannas to the south. Natural resources. So I'm not going to go too far into the natural resources because the one thing we need to know about the Middle East is the Middle East is huge on oil, which we know that that is a big deal in the United States as well. So when it comes to oil, 60% of the world's reserves are found in the Middle East. So before World War II, this region produced less than 5% of the world's oil. Today, it is at the top of that list. So the one thing I want you to take from the slides, remember that oil is very important in the Middle East. So in the Middle East, tourism used to be huge. It was very, very big before all the wars started, and of course the pandemic. But millions of people used to travel to see all these ancient historic places in Egypt, um, Dubai. So you have all these very expensive places in the Middle East that used to bring in a lot of money, but because of so many things that's been going on in the world, that people just haven't been traveling as much. So you can imagine the type of money that these countries is losing due to violence, sickness, and several other factors that may contribute to people not wanting to travel. But again, before all this, the Middle East was very huge on tourism. And in conclusion, the rivers, mountains, plains, and valleys, all deposits and rainfall patterns of the Middle East have shaped and will continue to shape the contours of people's lifestyles, livelihoods, prosperity and poverty, or poverty, war and or peace.